And we are live for a nice little Thursday evening. We got some people joining in right now. Miss Catherine, Mr. Paul Navidad. Happy birthday, Paul. I know that was yesterday. Went down to 197, I believe I saw. Ready to do another one over Labor Day weekend. Man, just crushing records here for the freshman class and the beta class. Mariah, Linda, Catherine, Karen, Greg, Dorian, Barbara. Got a lot of people coming on right now. So this is awesome. Thursday, I know a lot of people, like we said, started last week. And some of y'all maybe weren't on this call last week or on Monday because it was a holiday. So we had kind of talked about it, but I know the email didn't go out. So no worries. I try to put it on for everybody today for on Facebook. So that way y'all would see it all, but let's go ahead and get started. We'll have some fun here today. And like always, y'all, if you can just hit some Q&A, let's talk with you. It's looking like we got a good group on here. So let's go ahead and if y'all have any questions, hit us in the chat, hit us in the Q&As. Who lost 10 pounds already? Greg, awesome. Good job, Greg. Crushing it right there. Kevin, let's go ahead and I'm gonna let you start this thing. What do you feel like talking about today, big guy?
Oh, am I still unmuted? Yes, I am.
No?
All right.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Doing a little rearranging the windows so I can see all the chats and the texts and all the good stuff going on. Jonas, there's a lot of people on here that have done the program. We just said hi to Paul, had his birthday, hit his 197, hit his goal, getting down really below 200. His goal is 200 pounds, down below 200. And so certainly we need to hit the topics, loading, the phase 2, the phase 3, which is the maintenance, but we're also going to get into a little bit more coaching as we go forward with this. People are wanting to know how to share this, how to help their friends, how to help people, how to do what you and I do, frankly, Jonas, because the two of us, you and I, and any of the guests that we've had on here can only help so many people in this world. And we're really going to take this to the entire world as we're opening up in countries all around the world right now and doing these types of things. So part of the 180 system, everybody's on here, and congratulations, by the way, for taking the time to be on here and to learn this. But the 180 system is a reset for the body. I think that's the important piece to understand. And everybody's reset is going to be a little bit different than somebody else's. And I think that's the biggest thing, Jonas, we go forward and people say, well, how do I share this with somebody? The first rule in sharing this is to not tell somebody that their journey is going to be your journey, that they're going to experience what you experienced, that they're going to have whatever successes you had and they're going to have whatever failures you had, because that simply isn't the case. And so for everybody that's on here, as you get ready to transform, if this is your first session, be ready, because by day 30, people are going to be asking you, what in the world are you doing? Kevin Putnam did his first session, Joe, if you remember, and he threw it up on Facebook. And it just blew up. Everybody was saying, what are you doing? What happened? And so that's part of the 180. So as we transition going forward in these coming weeks, Jonas, we're going to start doing more training, more coaching, more, getting into those questions and answers. So a lot of people, you guys loaded over 4th of July weekend. Hope you guys had a great 4th. And again, thank you to everybody on here that's part of any of the first responders, armed services, people help keep our country safe and have fought for our freedoms. And that's really what that is all about. I'm proud to be an American. I'm glad to be part of this country. If you loaded and started over the 4th, how was your loading? Sometimes it's not as easy as you think. And why are you loading? What's the point of that? Loading really is the whole bedrock or foundation of this, where we're really going to reset the good and the bad fats. So Jonas, how many people have you people come into your office and you look at them and they look spectacular in their clothes, but then you ask them, why are you here? What are you doing? Mm-hmm. And they're athletes, or they're moms who've had babies. They're people who have this extra weight that they can't get off. We've had people on this call who said it's been 20 years and they're relatively thin, fit people since they were at the weight and condition they're in after just a 30-day session with the 180. And so that loading is that bedrock, that foundation. So if you're new to this and people are asking, what's 180? What are you doing? Why are you doing this loading? We're really replenishing the normal and good fats And we want to get rid of the cellulite, the visceral fat in, through, and around our bodies, but that lumpy, bumpy surface fat on our outside of our bodies, that's a good indication that you've got visceral fat inside when you've got lumpy, bumpy surface fat on the outside. Your body is storing fat. It's broken, what I call broken and unbroken. A broken body stores fat predominantly in the abnormal or unusable fat reserves instead of storing fat in your structural and normal fat reserves. So we're going to load 2 days, high fat, high concentrated foods where we're going to eat 300 to 350 grams of fat plus 7,000 to 12,000 calories a day. And we're going to gain 3 to 5 pounds of structural and normal fat reserves. That's the goal. Then when we start the 180 system in the reduced calorie portion, our body's going to start burning the bad fats, that cellulite, that visceral fat in, through, and around our bodies and tissues. So Jonas, one story I like to share, and I'll put it back over to you for anything you want to cover on that, is a gentleman who called me one day out of the blue, and he says, Kevin, you don't know who I am. I'm like, okay, how can I help you? And he said, well, you had one of your coaches who introduced me to the 180 system, right? And he goes, I have a cardiologist who is a person I see weekly. That's how bad my heart is. Every week, 360, or not 360, but 52 weeks a year, I see this cardiologist. And then they do a complete panel on him once a month where they do echocardiograms. They're in there doing why can't I think of it? What's the go in the tube and they do the MRIs.
MRI, yeah.
So they're doing the MRIs. I mean, they're doing a whole complete look at this guy's heart every month. He goes, I did your system. I lost 30 pounds in 1 month. And you like to talk about the visceral fat, Jonas, that we don't see. It's around our muscles and tissues. Well, he had that packed around his heart. So as he lost his 30 pounds and he lost some of that visceral fat around his heart, his cardiologist saw an aneurysm, and she said he had less than 1 week in her estimation before that ruptured and killed him.
Wow.
And so that's why he called me. He goes, that's why I wanted to reach out to you, because I'm actually alive right now because of your system. Had I not done your system, I would be dead right now. And then that cardiologist actually reached out to me, and she says, listen, I've seen a lot of diets. I've seen a lot of programs. I've seen a lot of things out there. She goes, I study the heart. And this man, when I saw him lose 30 pounds in 30 days, first thing I was worried about is his heart. You know, what happened to his body? And she said, when I went in there and did the, fixed that aneurysm and looked at his body, he's healthier than I've ever seen him. And it all reversed in 30 days. How do I do your program? This was the cardiologist, right? Who studies the body and the heart particularly. And that is not the only story, Jonas. I've had thousands of people call up and thank me. And I've had hundreds of stories like that where people have said, this has changed my life and saved my life, either because it physically saved them from something or because they had given up on life. I had another gentleman who said, I actually had the expiration date checked on the day I was going to check out of this life. After having just spent 90 days on another weight loss system, and after 90 days and several thousands of dollars and really little results, I was going to check out. And a good friend of mine convinced me to do the 180. And in 1 month, he lost 42 pounds. And that 42 pounds, if I can lose 42 pounds in 1 month, we see how Paul's story, right? He's done 2 back-to-back sessions here with his 6 weeks in between. He said, I had hope that I can get my life back. And he did. He actually got back to his college weight, right? And he was 400 plus pounds. Couldn't tie his shoes. Couldn't pull up his own pants. Had given up on life. So the reason I go into these stories, everybody's on this call, is 180 is not just about a number on a scale. Loading is not about just this thing that we do to trick our body. It's actually a process. That's the foundation. That's the bedrock. That's where we start the 180 system, is balancing out those good and bad fats. And now you guys are in week 1 or phase 1 of losing weight, which we'll jump right into after this. But Jonas, that's kind of my intro this week to people that are on this call, is to understand the loading they just went through. To those who've done the program before, get a little deeper understanding of loading. And to those who are on this call week in and week out, like Paul and there's several others, to help give them a little bit more tools in their bags and a little bit more fire in their bags to go out and share this with people, because it's not about just getting sexier. It's not just about getting lighter, but it's about getting healthier. It's about going out and be able to do things you couldn't do. Jonas, I'm sure you can do a lot more. We've seen your pictures now than that end of 2020 Jonas that we saw. And I'm sure the world looks very different for you. And you know that because you've done it for 9 years and you've helped people in the past. So that's my intro for this week, 4th of July, kind of a new beginning. independence, break free of the old ourselves, right?
Heck yeah. No, you're right. Last year, if y'all saw me, I was fluffy. I was inflamed. I mean, trying to breathe. It looked like all my before pictures, I couldn't inhale because I had a lot of visceral fat surrounding the lungs. But I'm excited to see a lot of these people on here. Bobby Davis, he just texted me. I see him on the call right now. He's coming to the office tomorrow to get weighed out. Linda Taylor, day 20. Okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to see your blood work, because I know you're headed in. A lot of good things. Rachel Taylor, welcome to the party, Miss Rachel. I know she's a chiropractor studying chiropractic medicine down here, doctor of chiropractic. So that's awesome. We got a lot of new people that are coming on, seeing what we're doing here. So yeah, what we're doing as we load, this is the most important part. This sets the tone for everything. Like Kevin said, this is the bedrock. So we go load, go eat. I know I got a question from Bobby Davis saying, well, how do I, what should I do? Any tips and tricks? He's like, besides this, and this. And I said, you pretty much got it, man. I mean, y'all get on here and get on the Facebook group and ask, what are people doing for loading? In the book, it gives you a lot of good things to load on. And if you want to load healthy, go load healthy. There's no right or wrong. It's just, let's get the fats in the body. Let's get the fat to know that you have enough fat and that it doesn't have to store it because it thinks you're in starvation mode. And this is what happens. And I keep seeing it happen on Facebook. I loaded, I only gained, 2 pounds, or I loaded, I lost 2 pounds. That just means that you have not been eating enough. That's it. Your body's going, finally, you're feeding me. It was funny. I had some of my embodies today, Kevin, and I told myself, I was like, hey, can you put these up? And they go, Jonas, do you know how many calories you're supposed to be eating a day? I said, yeah, like 3,500 calories. They go, yeah, your BMR, because my staff knows everything. Your BMR is 2,400 calories just to sit still. You're burning that many. I said, I know. I got to eat a lot. That's why when you look at guys that have a lot of muscle, anybody that has a lot of muscle, a lot of lean body mass, especially if they're working out, they have to eat. So when you get off of this program, what got us to gain weight? A lot of times because we think calories in compared to calories out. Oh, if my BMR is 2,400, well, then if I only eat 1,000 calories, then I gotta be losing weight, right, Jonas? No, you will not. You're gonna send your body into a starvation mode because your body's going, whoa, you're having less than 50% of the calories that we need to function? Sorry, I can't work that way. That's what the body says. It goes, so whatever you do, feed me. I'm just gonna hang on to it. And a lot of times, since we don't eat a lot, then we go into that tricky, oh, well then let me overeat, and then I'm guilty, so let me not eat, and then, oh, I'm hungry again, let me overeat, and then I'm not gonna eat. And we're sending the insulin spikes and everything's happening negatively in the body. That's why maintenance, when we get to this, is so important. You've already learned now how to eat. Don't go to this protocol blind. Go to the protocol, start to learn. As you write down in the journal, write down, how do I feel after I eat? How did I feel if at lunch I used to have 3 tacos and now I'm having chicken and asparagus? How do I feel? How do I feel 30 minutes after? How do I feel 2 hours after? If you're diabetic, if you have high blood pressure, check your glucose levels, check your blood pressure, see what's going on in your body, understand it, learn it, because that's not the only, again, the non-scale victories, meaning it's just not on the weight scale. How many non-scale victories can we have? Can I sleep better? Can I move better? Can I have more energy? Blood pressure, glucose levels, whatever it might be. If you have anything medically, going on with you medically, check it out. Look at it. Make sure that it's moving. Make sure that it's moving in the right direction. Make sure it's not moving too much, because then that's when you get a hold of your practitioner, whoever's writing you your medication prescriptions. So that's what we do. So phase 1, go load up. Bobby, you're going to have a fun time tomorrow. I can tell you that, big guy. So you think so? I know you're coming in. We'll talk even more when I get you on the body comp, and we'll do that. And we'll take some before pictures. And this is always a big thing for everybody on here. Take your pictures, because a lot of the times those non-scale victories can happen. And I'm going to use Wendy as an example. Wendy Robbins comes on here. Her first time she did it, she lost, I think, 12 to 14 pounds. She's like, gosh, I didn't see that much change. She lost 44 inches. What was happening? Her body was finally being fed. So her lean body mass, her hydration, everything good was going up, and then she was losing some fat. So that body composition change in her body was everything. She didn't see it on a scale because she's like, well, 14 pounds, that's not a lot. But she saw it in the inches. She saw it in how clothes fit, because her body just went, because everything started working better. So write down those non-scale victories. That's why we have the page back there, so you can write your measurements down. pick some measurements. You can measure every area, measure maybe just your troubled areas, but the more measurements you can take, the more understanding we'll have for what happened to your entire body transformation, right? That's why we don't call it a diet. It's called a protocol. Follow the protocol, because so many amazing things are going to happen to you, your body, your brain. So you're just going to think different. You're going to be different. You're going to act. You're going to react completely different. That takes us into Hell Week. Hell Week is a fun one, Kevin. Talk to us about Hell Week. What can happen to my body because I'm starting this thing out?
And Hell Week, don't let that scare you. I mean, the thing is, some people, the first week on the program, phase 2 is actually a breeze. And I love to hate those people because that's not the same for me. So why we call it Hell Week, let's just get real. We live in a world where the foods we consume are highly toxic foods, either chemicals, fake sugars, high fructose corn syrup, whatever we're consuming. If you're drinking lots of stimulants like coffees, Red Bulls, Monster drinks, sodas, whatever you're doing. And even if you're a person who really loves nutrition and you're eating super clean, super lean, we have habits. And so the reason we call this is that first week, we are eating that very targeted, healthy, focused foods that are maximized. Jonas, I like to point this out. People always ask, can I add, can I do, can I change, can I have this? Everybody on this call understand what's in that book on the list of allowed foods is how you turbocharge your results. Every time you add something to that list, you are most likely going to reduce your results. Now, you'll hear people sometimes in the Facebook group, whatever, hey, I did X, Y, or Z, and I still had great results. Well, great. That's that 1 out of 100. And it's like Russian roulette. Do you want to put that revolver up to your weight loss experience and pull the trigger and see if it goes boom or click, right? And so we call it Hell Week because when you have that targeted food and your body doesn't have the normal chemicals and toxins and garbage that we a lot of times feed it, or emotionally, if you are an emotional eater, that's me, right? If I'm stressed out, food is a comfort. Whether you're eating healthy or not, when you don't have your normal routine, all of these things can come up in that first week. And as we make that transition out of loading into the weight loss portion, we can have this stuff come up. And what happens in Hell Week is either you are determined to be successful and not make excuses and let excuses dominate you, or you're going to go ahead and fall into the excuse category where you make excuses for the things that you choose to do. Now, the only bad thing you can do here, completely bad thing, is stop doing the 180 because you think it's too hard. If you think the 180 is too hard, then you're happy with where you really are in your life physiologically, the way you see yourself in the mirror. And if you really don't like the way you see yourself in the mirror, you're going to eventually be back at 180. So do yourself a favor and don't let that happen to you. And the reason I say that, Jonas, is a lot of times when we talk about the program and not cheating and somebody makes that mistake in the week 1, then they kind of want to throw their hands up, oh, okay, I messed up. I need to stop and start all over. And you don't want to do that, okay? But I'm also talking straight to you and real talk with you and saying, let's be honest with ourselves. Are you following the program, or are you following the program mostly and then making exceptions in the day because you're just stressed and tired? So that's Hell Week, right? That's why we call it that. You might have some headaches as you detox. You might not. You might emotionally have some emotional headaches. we call it hangry a lot of times, or the people are a little bit psychotic that first week. But the trade-off, Jonas, and this is really what is the thing that motivates and keeps people going. Somebody who follows the 180 system as outlined, as they should see around 10 to 14 pounds come off the scale that first week. If it's less than 10 pounds, then we want to look at what are you doing? How are you doing it? Are you following the program correct? So again, we're not going to, and I make this comment, I know it's kind of said it's cliche, stupid, or sketchy, but I say, don't should on people, right? This is what you should be doing because this is what I did. So just because you don't lose 10 pounds doesn't mean you're failing on the program. For example, there's people who jump on this and they weigh, let's say 120, but their ideal target weight is 105 because that just is their body frame, right? So that person's not going to lose 15 pounds in the first week if they're really only got the last, 15 pounds to lose in their body. Their weight loss is going to be a little bit slower. And so we don't say just because you don't hit 10 or 12 pounds, you're failing. but it does give you an idea. If you have 25, 35, 45 or more pounds to lose, you should see 10 to 15 pounds in the first week. Now that includes the loading weight that you gained loading. That's why we ask you to include your loading weight when you put your results in. You can tell people whatever you want when you finish the program, your net result, but for coaching purposes, if you start the program at say 60 and you gain 5 pounds, so 165, and you're at 155 at the end of the first 7 days, then that's what we want to know. You've lost 10 pounds. You don't say, oh, I've only lost 5, because then we say, okay, what are you doing wrong? What's happening? We need to dive in, and that's not necessary there. So that first week, Jonas, that's why you call it Hell Week. It's that transition. It's the mindset. It's testing your resolve. It's, are you going to really get, gear into this? Did you prep your food? Jonas, we haven't talked about a lot lately. You guys need to prep your food. Get your week's worth of food ahead of time so you don't have to think as you're going through this transition week when you maybe aren't feeling 100% because you're detoxing or you don't have the stimulants you're used to. You want to have, for me personally, I make 100, and I've seen this a lot on Facebook. Let's track this real quick. People keep going by ounces, and they go to 4 ounces. 4 ounces, guys, is too much protein. It's 100 grams. 100 grams is like 3.64 ounces. We don't go by ounces, we go by grams. 100 grams of food weighed raw, then cooked, not post-cooked. And so I'll make 100-gram hamburger patties. If I'm going to make something with hamburger in it, you guys can't make 2 or 3 or 4 servings and then expect that you're going to separate it out in 3 portions and be accurate. You can't do that. You have to make individual meals. You can make them real easy, real simple, real quick. They don't have to be complicated. A tip to you moms and dads out there that are cooking for a family is you can make the exact same meal you're making for yourself for the entire family. You just cook them side by side, and then you add a few extras for the family. Maybe they want some toast with their dinner, or you're cooking potatoes or a grain or something else that you can't have. But you guys can have the same foods, and you'll be amazed at how often your family will come back and say, hey, mom, hey, dad, can you cook me the food you're eating? I talked to a client just recently where they said, you know what, we're doing the program and we got rid of, like you said, Jonas, get rid of all the crap load food that you just had in the house, right? And they did. And then they had fruits and vegetables around the house, and they noticed their kids were eating the fruits and vegetables. And then when they got off the program and we're going through maintenance, they kind of added back into their regiment some of the different snack stuff they would have around the house. The kids weren't eating it. They were going to the fruits and vegetables. The kids actually liked the healthier foods, and they didn't ask their kids to do it. They just took away all of the stimulants that were there. And the kids started noticing how much better they felt. And they're like, hey, mom, hey, dad, can we cook those meals you guys were cooking on the program? So Hell Week is a whole acclimation. It's a time to plan, get your proteins, get your vegetables, get your fruit laid out for at least 1 week, if not 2. It takes about an hour. That's all it takes during loading. If you haven't done it, make that a priority tonight. If you can't get it done tonight, make it a priority tomorrow. This will change your whole experience to get that prep done during week 1. So I'll turn it back over to you, Jonas. I'm going to read some of the comments that are here. And by the way, everybody on this call, if you have a specific question about the 180 system, or you're excited about results you're having, post it in the chat. And then in the question and answer, if you have a specific question, post it there. Love to tailor this call to the people that are here and the questions that you guys have. So.
Yeah, definitely. And so after week 1, we go into week 2. Week 2, that's when you start feeling a lot better if you had any symptoms. Week 2, we go in, that's when you start really noticing how the body's changing. Week 3, that's when we reset the hypothalamus. And I saw a question in here that Annette asked Kevin in the Q&A, and she says, she don't like the flavor of Calm. What can you do to change that? Annette, watch what's going to happen, because Calm tastes really, really good. I think you're going to start liking the flavor of it probably week 2 to week 3 in. But for now, if you want to change it, put it in a little shot of water or something, like a shot literally, and shoot it. It's a sonicated liposomal delivery. As soon as it touches your oral cavity, it's absorbed in 35 milliseconds. That's how fast it works. So watch for that, because that's when the hypothalamus changes in week 3. People go, man, I never used to like this. Now I like that. Kind of like you just said. Now people are going to eat more fruits and more veggies, going, I just feel better. Children especially, you don't have to tell them. Intuitively, they feel it. They go, I just feel better. So we go into there. Then week 4. And so Rachel, I know you asked a question here. If you fall off the bandwagon in food choices, yeah, jump back on. As long as you didn't fall off for longer than about a week. But if it's a 1 meal and you had to do it and there was nothing else to eat, yeah, hop back on. There's nothing else we have to change. And for those of y'all that, like Kevin said, don't play Russian roulette with your diet. So my simple question is, look, here's the list of foods. If you say and you think like, hey, I know my body loves this type of food that's not on the list, and you want to try it, by all means, try it. See how your body reacts the next day. But again, we put a basic list of foods here because this list of foods has been studied to work. But some of you all say, oh, well, you know what? My body really works well. For you, great. But don't go teach somebody else that, because we don't know how their body reacts with that. These are specific foods. But if you want to try it, I'll always tell people, because I don't like to tell you no. Oh, no, you can't have it. I'm not your parent. I'm going to say, look, if you want to try it, try it. See how your weight does the next day. You be the judge. So that way, this is a learning process for you, not just saying, oh, I can't have it. Because what does that mean? Especially as we're kids, when somebody says, don't do that, what do you want to do? I'm going to do it. Don't touch that, Jonas. Touch. At least that's me. If you tell me not to do something, but if you say, well, try it, then the risk is more on me now. Okay, well, do I want to take that risk? And if it's a calculated risk for me to take, then I'll take it. So that will happen usually week 3, the flavors, and then Rachel, if there's anything that happens between week 1 and 4 on phase 2, hop back on. Then we go into phase 4, that's shrink wrap, or excuse me, week 4, shrink wrap week. That's when the body just really starts to tighten and tone up. To see Paul still lose, I think Paul lost probably like 7 pounds his final week. I forgot what he was. He was like 202 or something when we just talked last Thursday. And now he's 197. I'm like, dang, you lost 5 pounds still? Like, you're crushing it, brother. What are you doing? Can you come teach us how to do this? Because obviously you're doing something. You've unlocked your body pretty darn well. So week 4, we go into maintenance. A lot of y'all are hitting maintenance. A lot of y'all are just starting. So those are the 2 most important parts. I would say loading is the most fun. Maintenance is most important. Phase 2, that's the most rewarding, because that's when you get on the scale every day. That's when you're seeing your body change every day. So bask in those rewards. But then let's not lose it all when it comes to maintenance. As we go into maintenance, that's the most important part, because we have to reintroduce foods back to your body so your body doesn't go, ha, I thought that was a joke, and come back up. That's what people say. Oh, well, I did this diet and then I gained weight, or I did that diet and then I gained weight. Yeah, because there's no maintenance protocol to it. What we're trying to do is reintroduce foods back so that way your body, your DNA goes, hey, I know what to do with these foods. I know how to metabolize them. I know how to use them for fuel. I know how to burn them. I know how to get rid of them. That's all we want your body to understand. This is why we have it all laid out for you. So as we go into maintenance, Kev, talk to us about that.
Yeah, maintenance is where you guys set this in, and I'll hit a couple of these questions real quick as we go into there. If you've fallen off the bandwagon in a few choices, maybe what it happens, right? If you just get exhausted or whatever, if you've done that, go back on the program on the basic foods and do the best you can through. Your body's still going to shrink. You're still going to lose inches. You're still going to reset. You're still going to detox. It does slow down your overall results. You may not be as impressed when you're done, as far as, man, I only lost 15 pounds instead of 25 pounds. You're a guy, but 15 pounds in a month is amazing. And more importantly, is sticking it out through the end of the 30 days. Know that you accomplished it, even if you faltered, and you're going to feel good and be set up if you want to do an additional round to lose more weight. So just stay on there. Yeah. And if you're taking supplements, you realize you were taking the supplements wrong, you weren't taking enough. Yeah. Just start taking the supplements. The supplements, I like to address the supplements as you can be successful in the program with just the vibe and the protocol, but your bodies are like a street, and streets have cracks, potholes, bumps, things that need repair. Everybody's different. And when you take those supplements, when you're taking the Calm, when you're taking the Lean, what that's doing is that's helping giving your body additional resources, additional supplements to help fill in those weak areas in your body, have a better experience, and set you up for maintenance in the long term. So that's why those supplements are important. They're not going to necessarily dictate whether you do or don't lose weight. Okay, we're doing more than just losing numbers off the scale here. We have a lot of repair to do in our bodies. That's why those things are there. We have a lot of things to do to work in our body. Okay, and so just start taking them. If you want to extend out to 40 days, which somebody said I'm going to extend to 40, that's fine. But what I tell people is, if you're coming down the last week of the program and you've only lost a pound the last 7 days, extending out to 40 is just going to extend you to 40 and exhaust you. Yep. Stop the program, go into maintenance, reset your body. Your body's telling you it's done. If you're following everything right, and you mentioned Paul Navidad again, what Paul's secret is, he follows the basics.
Surprise, surprise.
He keeps it simple. He's not experimenting all over there with all kinds of psychedelic mushrooms. He's just doing the basics, right? And if you do the basics consistently, if you load consistently the way you're supposed to each session, you're going to have these great results, and that's kicking us into maintenance. And the rotation on the food. So I'm trying to hit all these questions go in here. Foods, guys, the reason you need to rotate foods is we're eating a very limited, specific menu. Your body needs the different molecular structures of the foods. And riddle me this: if we can have romaine lettuce, and we can have cabbage, and we can have tomatoes, and we can have celery, why can't we mix them all together? Well, when you do, your weight loss stops. That's why we don't mix them together. Okay, we can get in all the science behind it. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. You eat them like that, you're not going to lose the weight you're supposed to lose. And so rotating the food, having protein, like say have a hamburger, chicken, fish, and rotating those methodically, eating different types of fish, not sticking with the same 2 or 3 vegetables consistently for 30 days. All of these things are going to help your body getting different, just different proteins, different chemical makeups that all these foods are made of. And it just helps that weight loss stay at its peak, right? So the more foods you can eat, rotated methodically, the better you'll do. So if you eat chicken and beef every other meal for 30 days, I guarantee you by day 15, 16, your weight loss is going to be significantly less than somebody who's rotating different protein choices more than you are. So that's why you like to do that on the food rotations. That's why it's so critical and so important to do that. And then we'll get to a couple more of these questions at the end. Let me go through what your question was, Jonas, which is maintenance. So when we've lost all this weight, when we've detoxed for 30 days, when we've had our bodies resetting, think of it as erasing what your body believes your weight is and how to deal with food and fats and things as they come in. It's a blank slate now. So we have to now retrain it and teach it what it needs to know and do. So the first 3 weeks of maintenance is when we're going to be adding the fats, oils, and dairies. Now, I'm not telling you if you're a person who's allergic to dairy or a person who's opposed to eating dairy that you have to go eat dairy. If you're going to avoid that the rest of your life, fine, you don't have to eat it. But if you know you're going to have dairy at some point in your life between now and let's say you live a long life and the day you die 50 years from now, you have to get your body acclimated to processing it. So you can limit how much you have of it and how often you eat it, but anything you're going to consume in your life, your body needs to get used to consuming. As you do this, and you talked about your basal metabolic rate, Jonas, and where it was at based on other people muscle mass, based on your calories, say you needed 2,000 calories a day to maintain your body weight. You're not going to get that eating the phase 2 menu, right? You've got to expand that. You've got to add in additional calories, fats, and oils, eating 3 meals a day, snacking in between if you need to, getting those calories. And if you're getting all the calories your body needs, you're probably going to do 2 steak and apple days during the first 3 weeks. And that's when your body has gone over the 2 pounds where you finished on day 30. So day 30 is the last day you took 5 drops. You wake up on the morning of day 31 and record your final weight from that day 30. Whatever that weight is, you're going to maintain plus or minus 2 pounds for the 6 weeks. That is critical. If you go over the 2 pounds, you're going to do a steak and apple day, which is no foods, limited water throughout the day. A large steak, I always tell people, 16 ounces, a big steak. A large steak and an apple, and you're gonna drop 1 to 3 pounds overnight. I recommend anybody who can do a steak and apple day, do steak. If you are doing a vegan and vegetarian and you can do a steak for 1 meal, I would recommend you do that. If you cannot do that for any particular reason, then you have to pick a protein source from your vegan menus that you use and do and eat that equivalent protein in an apple. It is not the optimal way of doing it. We're looking for that substitute. We haven't found that magic bullet yet in the vegan vegetarian world. So steak and apple is the best way if you can do it. It'll bring your body back down and then you go back to eating normal. Once the body spikes up 2 pounds again, you're gonna do a steak and apple day. So I'm saying, Jonas, the average is 2 of those in a 3-week period of time. Some people only do 1, some people do 3. There are those who do maintenance right and never have to do a steak and apple day, but that's rare. So I'm just giving you guys the guideline to follow. If you're not doing them, really look at your journal and make sure you're actually eating all of the calories and the varieties of food you need, enough oils and fats. The number one thing that people do, in my opinion, who are trying to eat health conscious that sabotage their weight is they don't eat enough healthy fats. They're eating too lean. And the indication of that is when you load and you actually lose weight the first day after you load, your body is telling you it's not getting enough fat. Okay, it needs more. So you want to have that balance in there of the proteins, vegetables, and fruits in your meals, and go through the first 3 weeks of maintenance. Second 3 weeks is just like the first 3 weeks, except for now everything in life is on your menu. Again, everything in life that you're going to consume, you need to at least have at least a couple times during maintenance. And then if you spike over that 2 pounds, you've got to do that steak and apple day immediately to drop that weight right back down. So this is critical in maintenance to rewrite the script our body's going to follow for the rest of our life. This is where you don't have to worry about a scale every day after this program. We're not counting calories every day after this program. We're just living normal life, making normal choices. Hopefully, for most of us out there, making a few different choices than we were before 180. It doesn't take a lot. It just makes some different choices. For example, Jonas, I learned about myself. I love ice cream. I just like ice cream, right? But if I eat ice cream at 9 o'clock at night, I gain weight. If I eat ice cream before 7 o'clock at night, I don't, right? So I'm not saying you can't have things that you love and are fun to eat. And I'm not saying that everybody should go eat ice cream if you don't think that that's healthy for your body, because it's not really a healthy thing to eat. It's just a fun thing to eat, right? But knowing when and how to eat it so that you're not abusing your body with it late at night, 9 o'clock, laying down and going to sleep, is just making those simple choices. There's foods, Jonas, that I don't eat very much anymore at all or ever because I don't like to. And consequently, since I've done this program and reset my body, I'm 53 years old and I can jump on my road bike. In fact, I do. And I ride about 28 to 30 miles at 17 miles an hour. And there's not a lot of guys my age that could do that. Yeah. But I couldn't do that before I did the system, before I reset my body, before I helped reset the way I think and view food and exercise. So those are things that I love and enjoy now because I've done the 180 reset the body, and then I do these activities that before I wasn't doing. So that's maintenance. And fill in the gaps for me there, Jonas. I'm kind of big
good
in there.
I think it's all over. I'd like to just answer a lot of these questions that people are asking. Is there a journal for us for maintenance? No, but get your own journal. Get your own journal that you have. I think we're going to be launching another journal, Kevin. Am I right?
Yeah. There will be this stuff coming. I mean, there is going to be a journal for the maintenance and beyond training. I mean, there was, a long call today where they talked about and mapped out and planned a lot of things that are happening for this. So yeah, that stuff's coming.
Okay. Catherine, what does it say? Sorry if I missed, already had to step away for 10 minutes. If you have to do an apple day, do you eat dinner on day 2 or don't eat anything again until day 3? Not sure what day you're talking about.
I think she's talking about like the noon to noon that it talked about in the book where you eat the 6 apples spread out.
That's different.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's on phase 2. I think that's being referred to, not the steak and apple day.
Correct. Yeah. So do you eat dinner the second? Yeah. So you have lunch still, because when you wake up that next morning, that's when you should see that drop happen. But yeah, have your lunch, have your dinner. And just keep it moving that next day. Be right on, because you're going to see it in the morning. Great questions that y'all are having. How do you get more calories when you reintroduce foods? Fats. Mariah, remember we talked about this maybe a few weeks ago, but for every gram of fat, it equals 9 calories. For every gram of protein and or carbs, it's only 4 calories. That's where you want to start adding in that tablespoon or 2 of fat. That's where you want to start adding in the eggs. That's where you want to start adding in the nuts, the seeds, the oils, kind of adding that in. That will start to jack your calories up really, really quick. That's why just try it a tablespoon, per meal for your first week, and just kind of keep going up from there and see how you feel, see what your weight does, and see kind of where your calories are at. Now, I know we're not going to sit here to talk about how to count calories, but I love that TDEE calculator, just so that way you know where you're at or where you should be. Because I know when we say go back to eating normal, well, what is normal? Was normal is what got us into this predicament, or were we just making bad choices? If we thought that normal means eat very little, no, I want you to understand where you're supposed to be. Because the other night, 4th of July, weighed 245 before I left, weighed 245 when I got back. One of the coolest things, and then I went down to 243. But I'm not on the protocol anymore. I'm past everything. But to see the weight, especially over 4th of July. And so Kevin, as you kind of say it also, I eat some foods out there that I don't really eat. And guess what? Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, heartburn, heartburn, heartburn. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to go back to eating healthy again, and maybe have a quarter cup of rice, but have my veggies, have my fruits, because that helps my body break down so much. But having hot dogs and a lot of fajitas and queso and no veggies, the acid was just sitting in my stomach with no fiber to help push it through. And so I just had heartburn every single night laying in bed. I'm like, oh my goodness. And one night I grabbed an apple out of my backpack just to eat it. Heartburn gone. Surprise, surprise, when you start getting the good foods in. Kevin, any other questions you kind of want to ask? I know we'll kind of get this thing wrapped up.
Just finishing up this. So, one question was, I've got 50 pounds to lose. I'm not going to lose that in probably a 30-day session. Some people have actually lost that. Depends. Guys have more of a chance of losing that. I've had people actually lose up to 60 pounds in 30 days. That's not normal though, but it can happen. But let's assume it doesn't. Let's say you lose 30 pounds in 30 days as a guy. If you're a girl, it's generally maybe 20, 25 pounds. You're going to do the system. You're going to do a complete 6 weeks of maintenance. And then right after 6 weeks, if you want to start another session and take off the additional weight, you can. If you want to spread some time out in between then and do it when it's, convenient for you after that. But you got to do the 30 days, take off whatever you take off, do maintenance, get your body reset, and then you could do another session. That's what Paul did. We talked about him a couple times on the call today. He did session 1, he did maintenance, and he did session 2. Okay, and he's down. What was the final number, Jonas? I know it's like close to 80 pounds.
79 pounds, I believe, Paul, if you want to hit us in here.
Well, total overall, I think he was at 74 pounds last week, and I know he hit his 200.
79.3, there it is.
Okay, bam. So there's 80 pounds basically in 2 30-day sessions, following the program as outlined, sticking to the basics. He didn't do anything crazy or, that nobody else could do. And listening to his body, looking at things he could do and getting it off. So that's 2 sessions that you do. And then to dovetail on what you said, Jonas, people ask all the time in maintenance, how do I get back to the foods? How do I get back to what I need? You guys, the program, the phase 2 is teaching you how to plan your food, plan your menus. You learn that in loading. You have to plan to load correctly. Then you plan to eat correctly in phase 2. You're getting your food prepped and everything set. Phase 3 and beyond is the same. You simply look at your daily needs and plan that out, right? What fats do I need? What calories do I need? So you can cook with things that are healthy oils and fats within your foods. You've got avocados and nuts, and there's all kinds of other ways that you can get oils and fats, and you've got your fruits and your vegetables. So you're about eating balanced and healthy. The protocol 2 phase 2 shows you that. And then you go into maintenance. Maintenance gives you ideas and there's tips in there on what to eat. And you get basically back to knowing your body. What can you eat and your body handles, and what don't you like to eat or your body doesn't like you to eat because it causes you to gain weight. Bread is a thing that almost everybody finds that if they eat consistently every meal through maintenance, they're doing steak and apple days like crazy because it's too much, right? Too much grain. But there's other types of things you can eat, other types of grains you can have. And that's what you're learning in phase 3. So it's not a difficult process to get these foods. It takes you a couple of days or maybe a week, the first week of maintenance, to kind of figure it out, right? As you're going through the trial and error. Jonas, you've talked about websites that, show your resting, your basal metabolic rate, what your body needs to just get the basics in each day. And then based on your level of activity, how much additional calories, and that gives you an idea. And for me, Jonas, it only took me about 4 days to figure out what I needed to eat every day for my body as far as food and volume. I don't weigh food. I don't measure food and calories. I don't go and look at a scale and plan things out to that degree.
Not at all.
But I look at my breakfast. What am I going to have? Is it balanced? I look at my lunch. And Jonas, like you said, when I stop eating that way, when I start to get out of balance, my body tells me, because I feel like a train hit me, right? It's like, why am I dragging? Why is there a parachute on me? Well, yep. Kevin, you're doing X, Y, Z. Oh, okay, I'm right where I should be based on what I'm doing. So let's change what I'm doing back to what I know to do. And I feel better. I feel healthy. I feel good. So that kind of answers a lot of those questions. I think that was so if you're going to extend to 40 days, we covered that. So just wrapping it up, the only way you can totally fail on 180 is to stop 180. That's the only way, to quit on yourself before 30 days. Can you mess up the 180 system more than somebody else by cheating or eating foods that aren't on the program or going out and doing things you're not supposed to do? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Own it. Don't say, hey, I didn't lose very much weight, the program's not working for me, own it, right? If you're going to cheat once a week, guess what? You're going to lose half your weight loss that week or more. So if you could lose 25 pounds in the program and you're cheating once a week, you're going to lose 12.
Yep.
The program didn't fail you. You chose what to do, and based on what you chose, you're right where you should have been, right? It worked. But when you follow it exactly, you're going to have the Paul Navidad's experience. You're going to have the Kevin Putnam's experience. You're going to have people that are losing that 25, 30 pounds. So it's an awesome system. It's a great way to reset. And for all those people asking questions, yeah, there's all kinds of new stuff coming. I know, Jonas, we're going to be working on revamping the nature of these calls, how we do them, what we do. All this stuff's going to happen as we go forward and transition the 180. And we kind of 180 prime my body with this and go through it. For somebody who's new to taking Calm, you don't like the taste, my best, you can do other things to make it whatever. I just took it. And after about a week of taking it, the taste didn't bug me at all anymore. But when I first started taking it, yeah, it was like a dog with peanut butter, trying to get that taste out, but it doesn't bother me anymore. Right. So that's the best way. If you can handle it, take it. And after about a week, it's not a big deal. I like Focus. And Jonas, they can have the juice of 1 lemon a day on the program. Yeah. So you can squeeze a little lemon into some water and put it in there and drink it if you wanted to. There's all kinds of things you can do that way. Herbal teas, you could drop it into that. So there's ways that you can dilute those if you wanted to. So that's all I got, Jonas. It's a great week, and I can't wait as we go forward to reveal and release some of the new things we have planned coming out in the near future.
Yes, sir. Well, Kevin, thank you as always for your time. I think Calm tastes like orange creamsicle, but maybe that's me. I was
that's
like, oh, this is so good. I think it has that good flavor to it.
Let me see if I
try orange. Think orange creamsicle, like from the Ice Cream Man when you were young. Let me think orange creamsicle. Smidge.
No, I'm thinking more like. No, I'm not gonna say it, but it's not bad. It just reminds me of Pine Sol.
No,
but I like Focus.
I don't know those tastes. Yeah, the Focus it's really pepperminty.
So that's a good way to get the Calm out, is take Focus right after Calm.
There you go. Take the peppermint right after the.
My wife just said she does it the other way. She takes Focus and then takes Calm because she likes it better. See, we're all different.
I like Calm. I think Calm's is like sweet. I think it tastes really good.
Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody has different taste buds, and that's why I say everybody's gonna have their own experience. Let them have it.
Broken.
Just coach it.
We'll all try it. The heck with it. Becky and I have the same taste buds. That's
she just used me against myself. She pointed at herself or at me and said broken, and pointed herself and said unbroken. Whatever works. Yes. Enough from the peanut gallery over there.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank y'all for being on. Kevin, as always, and Becky from the peanut gallery. Thank y'all so much for being on. Always a fun time with y'all. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great one. Bye-bye.